Back from intermission, kids. We're hitting the hard stuff now. We have a bijou there. So, I showed you that Neptuna gin on my Twitter. That stuff is delicious, but that's a martini gin. We're not going to mix that like, kind of like the Lafroy. You don't make a mixed drink with Lafroy. You drink that on ice. The Neptuna, you make a martini so you can taste it. Tanqueray is a great gin, don't get me wrong, but we can use it for mixed drinks or a martini. We're back with part 2 of our zombie double feature. Let me see if I can do it. Not quite. I walked with a zombie. This again, one of those tall kind of posters that they had back in the day. And look at that. That's a fantastic poster. James Ellison, Francis D., and Tom Conway. Not to be confused with Tim Conway from my childhood. And this is RKO. We're just going to set this one over here because this is too nice to throw on the floor. Alrighty. I Walked with a Zombie is a 1943, so only 1 year before Voodoo Man. And probably after White Zombie. Director Jacques Tourneur, which might explain something here. I'm going to have to look him up. Okay, a nurse set sail to the West Indies to care for a plantation owner's wife. She has come down with a case of mindlessness. That's what they called it. Ooh. I'm going to be pretty mindless if I drink too much of that green chartreuse. Along the way, the plantation owner unveils his special kind of negativity, which his wilder brother tries to explain to her without success. To the beating of the voodoo drums in the night, the nurse tries to cure the sick woman. After failing to come up with any answers and even considering shock therapy, which, shit, one of my friends had shock therapy. Man, he came back to work and he just was not the same guy. And it took a long time before he was the same guy. Now, he did a little bit too much cocaine and a couple of DUIs and didn't get his citizenship and got deported to the beach in Mexico. Well, she soon takes an interest in native culture and particularly native medicine. After chatting with some of the help there at the plantation mansion, it was a mansion on the plantation, she starts to wonder if voodoo could cure the woman. You know, let's just call it. Are you ready? Alternative medicine. Well, maybe. We have plenty of that today. And most of our pills came from alternative medicine. In the middle of the night, she sneaks the woman out where one of the help shows them how to get to the Hunfort. Unfor. Pardon my French. Okay, now we need a voodoo lesson, because this movie actually is about voodoo. The Unfor is I don't want to call it a temple because it's a simple little building, but it's like their house of worship, like a church. And in the center is a poteau-miton, kind of a pole decorated usually with stars or speckles. And they dance around that pole. So you know, I lived in Florida for a long time. There were Haitians, okay? And there's a root store. The help shows them how to get to the Hunfort and pins a black cloth on them to allow them past the zombie guards. Now that part's Hollywood. At the crossroads. There might be a god at the crossroads, but there wouldn't be zombie guards. Zombies would be working in the field. At the Hunfort, she finds the most unlikely person behind the healing. A local nurse is hiding out amongst the voodoo mambos and doctors, witch doctors, and giving the natives modern medicine under the guise of magic. Actually, a pretty smart idea. Well, it's too late, though. The natives see the woman's condition and take it upon themselves to cure her. Although the nurse manages to get her back home to the plantation and admit to the husband what she did, the natives' drums beat on for days. They try every trick in the book to lure the woman back to the Hunfort to cure her the old way. Okay. If you haven't seen this one, I thoroughly recommend this one. This is probably the closest I've seen Hollywood come to actual voodoo. Well, here we go. A very good film, especially for a low-budget feature. The depictions of voodoo in the movie are above par for Hollywood and weren't surpassed until The Serpent and the Rainbow in like 1988. And yeah, that movie had some Hollywood embellishments too, but it kind of captured basically what happens. I don't know if The Serpent and the Rainbow's in that bucket, but maybe it should be. Wes Craven, by the way, The Serpent and the Rainbow. As for I Walked with a Zombie, moody, eerie, and very effective. I hit my own leg with that. Moody, eerie, very effective. And we're going to give it 4. It's a 4-ring circus for 1943's I Walked with a Zombie. Okay, should we see what we're going to get next week? I'm not so sure that we should do another black and white show. The younger kids, like, they're going to freak out if I do too many black and white movies in a row. You can't even see what color my bijou is. Okay. Monkey in the jungle. Oh, I better stop it or I'll get a copyright thing. Don't mind me, I'm just shaking up the movies here. I'll mix them up. But we are going to cheat a little bit. Oh, look at that, we only got 2. So what are we going to do? I do to my clown suit. That's the first time my bucket's ever caught on my clown suit. Okay, next week. At least I'm pretty sure next week. On the Late Night Picture Show, we have... Look at this double feature. I pieced this together because of a DVD set that I got. Pieces and Memorial Valley Massacre. Next week on the Late Night Picture Show. And I believe these are color, so we're fine. 70s, 80s, possibly into the 80s. We will find out, won't we? Good night, kids.